Do not sleep on The Outfit. This will hands down become one of the more underrated movies from 2022, and I know it's hard to judge that because the film has not come out yet, but let me just tell you right now, it's going to be. Because this is the perfect movie that you find on a streaming service and you wish that you would have seen in theaters. What's going on, buddy? Welcome back to a brand new movie review. Today we're going to be discussing The Outfit. Now this is about an expert tailor who must outwit a dangerous group of mobsters in order to survive a fateful night. Directed and written by Graham Moore and starring the likes of Mark Rylance, Zoe Deutch, Dylan O'Brien, and Johnny Flynn. This is a movie I didn't even see a single trailer for. I've always seen the poster and I saw the trailer playing, but it never played before any of the movies that I'd seen in theaters. So I went into this movie literally only knowing that there was mobsters involved, and that's it. And what I got was a huge, pleasant surprise of a movie that we do not see enough, especially in theaters nowadays, but just in general, we don't see a movie like this at all anymore. And what it was perfectly encaptured by was being a bottle episode of your favorite mobster television show, and really much staying self-contained to one area, which again could be a little bit detriment to certain things, but the way and the usage of this space, this tailor shop that we are in, it is immaculate, and I was thoroughly impressed to see how this was all created, and I think a lot of you guys are really going to love this to either really liking this. I can't see anyone being disappointed by this movie, especially because from what I understand is that the trailers were a little bit disappointed and maybe just not really giving what the actual story of this is going to be. So I'm really excited to discuss this one, guys, and I want to hear your guys' thoughts down below in the comment section. So leave me a comment down below. Do you like this movie? Did you not? Make sure to also hit that like and subscribe button if you enjoy also talking movies, because that's my favorite thing to do, is talk movies. And if you're here, you probably also love doing the same. Starting with my pros, Mark Rylance is absolutely a badass guy in here. You continue to root for him throughout the entire movie, and something that just really needs to be emphasized is how daring and great of an actor he is. I mean, the guy's won an Oscar, so we know this, but whether you just saw him in Don't Look Up, where he plays this extravagant, billionaire, company head level guy, to now there's just little tailor shop guy, who there's obviously a lot more behind his layers and everything in his past, and as the movie plays out, you learn a lot more about that, but his performance is great. Alongside the rest of the cast, Zoe Deutch is absolutely phenomenal, and I was thoroughly impressed with her performance, as well as Dylan O'Brien, who I think just needs to be in more things. Johnny Flynn, man, he was intimidating, scary, and honestly really great in here as well. For me, what really succeeds in here is, yes, the performances are enjoyable, and they're great, and they really much are effective towards this story, but Graham Moore, the director and writer of this, really needs to be accommodated from the way that he was able to direct and tell this story. Again, all taking place in one singular location. The opening shot is going into the tailor shop, and the finale shot is leaving the tailor shop. And everything in the middle of that is all taking place in this one area. And there's so much in there that you can really much dive into and understand why there would be so much. You know, when you look at a tailor shop, there's clothing, there's sewing lines, there's nails, there's trunks and chests, and multiple different ways that you can really much interact in this space. And while I don't think the cinematography was top level, I think that was probably one of the more weaker aspects. But the fact that the story was so intriguing and absolutely keeping you on edge due to the twists and turns, some that honestly, once I thought I had the movie figured out, it did a turn and I was like, oh my god, like, what? Oh my god! Sometimes that can be, again, a detriment to it, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in the cons, but for me, nearly almost every twist and turn in here was so much fun, and it had you trying to guess along the way of what is actually going to happen next, what's going to happen here, and who is actually going to come out on top. And those are the things in this movie that I miss having in film, where it's actually having me guess and have fun while watching the movie, because there's this nice little nitwit of humor throughout the entire movie, weaved in so perfectly that this is not a comedy, it's more of a crime drama, but the way that it's written in is so well done, and the performances from it are great. But also there's the intensity. Moore understands what the purpose of Chekhov's gun is. If you don't know what Chekhov's gun is, it's pretty much saying, hey, if there's a gun that's being pretty much given earlier in the movie or the show, that gun is going to eventually be used. Same thing happens for other plot points in here. Okay, if that is being shown, that is probably going to be used in some sort of capacity. Same thing with that, same thing with that. And the way that it all ties together may not be up to your expectations, and maybe it was a little bit divergent of what actually happens, but it's fun. And that's what I can say is I think the outfit is just a fun time to go out to the movies, throw popcorn in your face, and just honestly, again, enjoy yourself. It's not super overly heavy hitting with emotions where it's depressing, and it's also not completely comedic to where it's kind of losing its dramatic suspense. Now, this is a great suspenseful thriller that we just don't get enough of these made, and if we do, they end up hitting a streaming service where I sadly think many people are probably going to discover this movie for the very first time. I can almost guarantee. And I want to hear this. Now, obviously, as this movie is coming out now, a lot of you guys watching this will probably see it in theaters. But if you were watching this video a year from now, please let me know if you saw this in theaters or if you ended up discovering it on a streaming service or a video on demand or you bought it on Blu-ray or something of that nature, because that is where this film will be discovered. But if you're watching this right now, really, go see this in theaters. This is such a fun experience, and take a friend, take a girlfriend, go on a date, take your grandmother, take your mom, your dad. They will enjoy this film. I would be pretty shocked if they didn't. Because honestly, let's segue over to my cons. The only few cons I have is, again, I mentioned some of the cinematography, while good, when you come down to these singular locations, I always expect a little bit more of a flair, something a little bit unique. Some of the cinematography is a little bit too dark for the screen, and I also just didn't think it was eye-catching when you probably could have made it a little more eye-popping in certain sequences with it being in this one singular location, but you know, that's one aspect of it all. The other aspect, like I mentioned, is the twists and turns are so fun. There's about one or two, though, that I don't think was needed, and it probably would have helped the pacing of this just a hair towards the back half, because right as you think the movie's about to end, oh, no, there's another 20 minutes. Okay, it's about to end. Oh, there's still one more twist. And I always felt like there was a little bit, especially on the last two, a little bit too much there. I would have liked them to have pulled that back just a hair. I didn't think it was needed, and I think you could have given the development, because one of my complaints actually watching the first half of this movie was, cool, I'm cheering for Mark Rylance, but I really want to know more about his character. No worries on that. You do start to learn more about him throughout the entire movie, and that is where I became satisfied with that. But that was one of my issues kind of leading into this. Other than that, besides those two cons, The Outfit is a movie that you should absolutely not sleep on, and you should see this weekend in theaters. I think you would be very impressed to see how much fun it is. It's not in the sense of a whodunit, but it is more of a mystery on this fateful night of something, this MacGuffin of a sense, that these mobsters are going after, and how this Taylor kind of comes in the middle of all of this. It is something that we do not see enough of, and Mark Rylance absolutely kills it in this role. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie, and I'm going to be recommending this to a lot of people throughout 2022, and I hope you do the same. So with all that said, I'm going to give this movie a B+. I really enjoyed this one. It was quite a surprise. Other than that, guys, I want to hear your guys' thoughts down below in the comment section. Are you excited for this movie? Are you not? Hit that like and subscribe button, as well as making sure to head on over to Sam Films. If you're interested in seeing movies earlier or seeing what all the new movie news is, go check them out down there. But of course, until next time, stay classy.